make welcome Miss Finlinson, who will be sharing with us on the the guiding principles 5 and 6. All right, so teachers, I want you at this time to remember that as she goes through, we're going to be having a session after where you're going to demonstrate. Just pay attention. We want to ask that as much as is possible, minimize the conversation in the chat unless it is directly related to the session that is going on, because sometimes when we put pertinent information there, it gets overlooked by, you know, all the good afternoons and so on that's there. So let's be cognizant of what we are typing, because I often say, don't just talk, but say something. So add value to the chat by what you put there. I'm now going to ask teachers that, well, I want to welcome Mr. Chin. Mr. Lonray Chin is from the Jamaica Teaching Council 1. He's our mentoring officer. So welcome, Mr. Chin, and I'm now going to hand over to Miss Finlayson. Miss Finlayson, do go ahead.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Miss Finlayson, and I'll be your presenter for this evening. So I'll be presenting on guiding principles 5 and 6. Now, before we start, I just want to start off in a light mood. So I'm just going to have us watch a small little motivational video. And at the end, about 1 or 2 persons can tell me how they think that video kind of relates to what they're going through now during the pandemic and as teachers. So let me begin. All right, so that's my little motivational video for you guys today. Can anyone tell me how that video is related to what they're going through now, or what they can take away from this video as it relates to going through the new school year, of course, and this pandemic? Okay, Jodianne, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yes, well, we're going to have challenges. We are currently having challenges along the way, but if we just dare to push on, we'll definitely come out victorious. We just have to have that, keep that determined spirit alive within ourselves, motivated despite of whatever will come, whatever is happening now, and we're promised better at the end of it all.
Great. All right, next person, go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. This is what I saw in the little motivational video. I saw the floor recognize that it was in an environment that was just consumed with death and destruction. So there's a lot of things dying around, and the floor realized that, that he didn't want that same end, and the obstacle was in front in terms of the pavement, but that didn't faze him at all, because what the floor saw beyond the obstacle was an opportunity for life. And in that determination to push beyond the obstacle, which was the pavement, which you realize could have led to its peril, it pushed beyond that boundary. And not only that, in pushing, it was able to produce other flowers too. And that's what, so life came out of that. And that's what I saw. And it's a parallel to what's happening here. We're surrounded with a lot of story, death, destruction, a lot of sadness, sickness, all of that. And it's now for us to make a determination. What are you going to do? Are you going to remain in that dead spot, in that dead season? Or are you going to uproot yourself by faith, push through the obstacle? Because guess what? There is new life in each and every one of us that we could perhaps, motivate, inspire, and even perhaps even bring life to others who may be in this similar dying or dead environment.
Very good, Miss Sales. Very good. I like that interpretation. Anyone else before we move on?
Good afternoon. Are you hearing me?
Good afternoon.
Yes. What I got from that little snippet is that we are to come out of our comfort zone, explore. While exploring, we'll meet challenges. Then we'll overcome through collaboration with others, and it will be better in the end. Yes, good girl.
So true, so true. All right, so thank you guys for your participation. Now I'll be looking at guiding principles 5 and 6. And before I jump into that, I just want us all to remember that those guiding principles are the same principles that we're going to focus on when it comes on to the appraisal instrument. Now, the appraisal instrument can be found on JTC's website that you see me here on. You go to resources. After going to resources, you go down, you'll find teachers appraisal instrument. You don't know that. After you have downloaded that, you will have your instrument right here, which will know just guide you as to what is really needed in all guiding principles and how best you can just develop yourself and work towards certain qualities that they want there in order to do well in your appraisals. So as you can see right here, the guiding principles would be outlined, all 6. All right, so I'm now going to move into my presentation. Okay. Are you seeing my presentation? Hold on.
Yes, just go to the slideshow.
Yeah, it's taking a minute. Hold on. Technology, I tell you.
Happens and with this weather.
Right. All right, so while this comes up, what I'll be doing is I will just be doing a quick overview of what would have been highlighted before for guiding principles 1 through to 4, and then I'll pick up at guiding principles 5 and 6. All right, so again, I'm your presenter for the day, and I'm Ms. Finlayson. And I hope that today you can take something from this presentation and go forth and create wonderful e-portfolios. All right, so this was based on the video that we just watched. So my little word to you guys is that victory belongs to the most persevering. And of course, as teachers, we all know that teachers are persevering. We go through so much. We just don't stop. We go and go and go, and we give up our best. And sometimes we give up our best, leaving nothing for ourselves. But the victory belongs to the most persevering. And I want you all to take that from this presentation today also. All right, so now looking at what is a professional portfolio. Again, this is just a quick review. Now, in terms of the electronic portfolio, so it's a purposeful collection of the sample of students' works, demonstrations and artifacts that showcase students' learning progression, achievement, and evidence of what students can do or would have done while you had them in your classes. Now, a professional portfolio is seen as a dynamic record of the teacher's qualifications and professional growth over time, and can gauge the teacher's successes, opportunities for improvement, and a means for fulfillment. And when presenting the information in your e-portfolio, it comes across as helping you know when you're coming on to look at, maybe you're searching for a job or you want to enhance your career, maybe through a promotion and so on. Now, there are 4 things that we need to look at when we are creating an e-portfolio. We have to look at reflection, collection, selection, and connection. And those 4 things that we're looking at would have been gone through before the previous presenters. Now, in terms of using the professional portfolios, no, it says that it can be used as a tool for annual assessment and renewal of the professional license as a teacher. And it also helps to speak about the competency of the teacher and his or her commitment to the teaching profession. It also acts as an appraisal instrument. So it can help to communicate your teaching potential to your employer. It helps to decide promotion, and it helps in, further recommendation for training and development, depending on what they see when they go through your e-portfolio. So your e-portfolio is most like sometimes just a reflection of what you do, yes, and what you have done throughout your teaching career and how best you can develop yourself. The portfolio now, in terms of development, so it's a document where you document all your teaching experiences and your academic service over time, and it provides evidence of a teaching style also, and innovations as an educator, and it serves as a tool for reflection and self-development. Now, moving on to the guiding principles and the professional standards, we have 6 of them. So we have guiding principle 1, which you guys would have gone through, which is teachers know the subjects that they teach. Guiding principle 2, teachers know how to teach the subject for which they are responsible. Guiding principle 3, teachers are committed to the children in their care, managing the learning process through recognizing diversity among learners and fostering inclusiveness. And guiding principle 4, teachers sharpen their professional skills. Now, for guiding principle 5 and 6, those are the 2 that we'll be focusing on today. And guiding principle 5 talks about teachers interacting with parents and communities, while guiding principle 6 will talk about the teacher's conduct in uplifting his or her profession.
All right, Ms. Finlayson, one, may I just pause? Could you go back to that slide, please? I want us to pause for a minute to look at the 6 guiding principles, and for us to understand the relationship between this and the e-portfolio. I want, for this, I'm going to allow 2 persons to know, just raise your hands and explain to me how this is, what this is doing is as it relates to what we're doing and how you align this to your e-portfolio. So I want someone to share that with me now. Just raise your hand and tell us your understanding of how these 6 guiding principles affect or will you, how you're going to use these to provide the evidence in your e-portfolio. All right. Ms. Officer, go ahead. Explain to us. And then, yes, so 2 persons. Go ahead, and then Miss Chintra Singh.
With the guiding principles outlined. Good afternoon, everyone. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, because I have weather condition here. All right. So with these guiding principles, given their outlines, I think also on the appraisal documents at the end of each guiding
You have become distorted.
what
Sorry.
the source of reference could be some of the things that you can put under the my weather. I have weather conditions still. Are you hearing me now a little bit clearer?
Yes.
All right. Let me go to Miss Chintra Singh. Miss Officer, thank you for sharing. We got the gist of what you were saying. I realized you had a challenge. Go ahead, Miss Chintra Singh.
Good afternoon, everyone. We will use these guiding principles in producing our e-portfolio, as we will share various aspects of what we have in these principles. For example, we have teacher know how to teach the subject, teams for which they are responsible. So our content and things like that will be demonstrated in our presentation of our e-portfolio. So for another example is teacher sharpen their professional development. So you will showcase maybe seminars, development and stuff that you're actively involved in and things like that.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that, Ms.
You're welcome.
I want us to understand clearly that what we're saying is, for your e-portfolio, you know how to do all of these. It is obvious that you know how to do all of these, but what we're asking for teachers is that you're able to now showcase it. So when someone takes up your Miss Finlayson, go back to the e-portfolio, go further back to the JTC website, rather, right? To the
Okay.
appraisal, and let me, because some persons I think are still having that challenge that I want to clarify. I know that most persons understand, but I don't want any teacher left behind. So very good, Miss Thomas. It is to show the evidence of each GP. So going back to, let me just quickly go back. All right, beautiful, right? Go right down, right? So just what, so when we talk about go back up, Miss, back up. Don't, you're going to.
Okay, one. Okay.
If you notice here, teachers, when you go to do your appraisal, right? And your team says you can only get a 2. The purpose of the e-portfolio that we're helping you to understand and to showcase is that you're going to put in everything here so that when you can get your maximum 6 credits. So what is it that you must do to have the maximum 6 credits? That is to have the evidence of that which you have been doing. And so that is what we are working on. So at the end of it, go all the way to the end. Your appraisal is marked out of 100, right down to the bottom. You when miss, right, so you're right there, right, back up a bit. So right here, you notice that you can get a maximum of 130 credits. You must have the evidence to show. Teachers, I have no doubt that you're doing the work. What we have a challenge is that you're not documenting as you go along. Now, the question someone asked earlier is the work that was done before. Remember that each appraisal year, you have to showcase what you would have done for each appraisal, for each guiding principle. So for GP1, that's out of 30, that talks about you knowing how to teach the subject. You want to ensure that you have everything there that will showcase that you know how to teach the subject. This is going to be data that you're now collecting starting September, based on what you're doing, your lesson plans, or everything that you would have done for the academic year 2021-2022. So we're doing these sessions now in preparation for the appraisal for July 2022. And so we want you to start collecting your artifacts. And one of the things that we're going to look at today is how you put these, you can create an account in Google. And I would suggest that you do that. Create a Gmail just for this. And in that, you create your Google Drive and put it as your e-portfolio artifacts, and then you put the different guiding principles. As you go along, you just put things in them under the guiding principles. When it's time for you to compile your e-portfolio, it becomes much easier. All right, over to you, Miss. Thank you so much, Miss Phyllis, for highlighting this. Thank you. Go ahead.
All right, so we are now going to start off with guiding principle 5. Now, just a quick note, Rodriguez, Miss Rodriguez, she said that when we as educators recognize benefits can be accrued by engaging parents and community as partners, we open the door to making our jobs easier and more transparent, and we also enrich the opportunities for children to experience success. As educators, I find that most times when it comes down to the appraisals, we do fall short in, some educators do fall short in this section as it relates to interaction with the community and parents. So I'm just going to have us look at what we are looking for when we go to guiding principle 5 as it relates to interacting with parents and community. Now, first, we're looking at PTA meeting agendas and or minutes. So if you were a part of, maybe you did a presentation during a PTA meeting, or you are the one who is in charge of writing the minutes, all of that can be documented and evidenced and placed under guiding principle 5. We also look at evidence of parenting or other workshops or meeting held, list of topics and presenters, and also the register. So if you, for example, in charge of a parenting workshop at your school, you can highlight that. Also, if you participated or did a presentation during that workshop, you can also get maybe a video evidence, picture evidence, and even documentation, and you put that to your guiding principle 5 on your e-portfolio. Now, we're also looking at the parents' acknowledgement and verification of receipt of documents, whether it be through email or the school's LMS. And sometimes we do know that parents might contact us via WhatsApp. We can have all of those communication down, recorded, and just placed on our website. As it relates to strategies to motivate parents to participate, especially during times such as this, maybe, just to kind of boost up the parents, because we know that right now they're stressed out. You can start little strategies, maybe a parent weeknight where you watch a movie, or you play some games or something like that, just to kind of give them the feel as if they are actually a part of the school and not just sending their students to the school. And of course, something like that would want them or would push them to participate in other school activities. Also looking at class conference log with parents, highlighting cases and issues regarding students' performance. As teachers, we know that our schools wants us to log performance. We have a logbook, so you log the performance of the student. It can even maybe be based on maybe a behavioral issue or anything like that. So you log it, your date, the time, everything, when you spoke to the parent and all of that. And you have that, you can place it on your website as well. We also look at class displays and open days. So class displays, whether it be for a subject area, whether it be for science, or whether it be for Spanish, you can invite parents in and maybe members of the community and have your students do particular presentations. You can video it, take your pictures, place it on your website, on your e-portfolio under guiding principle 5. Also, as it relates to open days, if you're in charge of maybe an open day, or maybe you were just a part of an open day, you can take your pictures and your videos and you place that under guiding principle 5. Now, a continuation of guiding principle 5, we're looking at photographs of as evidence of teachers' participation in at least one community project yearly. And one community project that most teachers are a part of would be like, for example, Labor Day projects. So maybe you can video yourself, take pictures of yourself and other staff members or students or members of the community, just doing little work maybe on the school compound or in the community or anything like that. You place it under Guiding Principle 5 in your e-portfolio. We also look at evidence of community projects, which might include being a guest speaker, field trips and community improvement projects. All of that, again, as I've said, you can take your pictures, you can have your videos, and you can put them under Guiding Principle 5. Now we look at samples of certificates or awards presented out to outstanding parents. So maybe as a form teacher or even a class teacher, you can take it upon yourself to make to awards or certificates of appreciation to parents who would have been very outstanding parents, parents who were always there in their child's development. You can just highlight them. Parents like that too. So you can put up maybe the videos of the award or simple pictures and samples of the certificates, and you place that under Guiding Principle 5 as well. We're looking at evidence on class assignment, on community relations and interactions, and also establishment of a class welfare fund or drive, distribution of used texts or uniforms, etc. Especially now during COVID, maybe it's a distribution of tablets or going to the homes of students who, who aren't coming to school to find out what's happening, giving anything that you can, little packages that your school might have set up for the needy among the school population. And you take your pictures and your videos as evidence, of course, and you place that under Guiding Principle 5. Now we're going to be looking at 2 examples of an e-portfolio under Guiding Principle 5. We'll first look at Mrs. Harris's portfolio, Ms. Harris Burrell's portfolio, and then my portfolio. And again, it does take time to gather all the information. You won't have everything at once. So whatever you have, you just make sure that you place it on your e-portfolio. All right, so this right here is Mrs. Burrell's e-portfolio under Guiding Principle 5. And of course, you'll see that she makes it interactive. She's talking about herself, so Rochelle interacts with parents and communities. And then she has her evidences placed here. Again, there are videos there, and for persons who are concerned about the space on their Google Drive, you can create your YouTube channel and upload your videos to your YouTube channel. Once you've uploaded those videos to your YouTube channel, of course, you just place the link on your e-portfolio. All right, so this is an example of Mrs. Burrell's e-portfolio under Guiding Principle 5. Now, under Guiding Principle 5 of my e-portfolio, again, each portfolio will look different based on, what persons would have experienced, because some persons, of course, would have more experience than others in the teaching field. So again, you have mine, again, interact with parents and community. And I would just maybe put up a little heading there and some pictures. So any little community involvement, even if it's with other schools. All right, so that is an example of Guiding Principle 5. Now, going back to guiding, yes, I see 2 hands raised. Go ahead, I see 2 hands raised.
Good
Unmute.
good afternoon. Good afternoon, all.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
All right. My concern with the pictures that are displayed
Mhm.
is that you are not in them, and I'm wondering if persons are going to now be able to beat the system by just putting in random pictures to say that they were at a certain function or event when they are not
Oh,
really in it. Right. So
oh,
that is my, so when I go out to, as a trained assessor, when I go out to mark and I'm looking at the students' portfolio, I want to see them in it, participating or showing a concept or whatever. So, and it must be that they're not just posing, because I could be going about my business and I hear that there's a church service and I just go and pose it to one of my colleagues, but I'm not really there. And then I leave, you know? So we want it to be as authentic as it can possibly be.
right.
Mrs. Ball, sorry, Mrs. Finlayson, Miss Finlayson. What I'm going to ask Miss Ball, and that's a very good point you have raised, because some persons are great at putting a portfolio together, but are not excellent teachers. So let me get your suggestion here, just before Miss Finlayson comes back on. What are some things that you
Yes.
want to see? You are one of the persons marking Miss Finlayson's portfolio. What are some evidences that you would want to have there to say, yes, she was in fact a part of this?
Well, I would want to see her. She is showing the church service, and I realize the pictures show different aspects of the church service as it progresses. I would like to see that she is there during the progression. So if she's ushering the students off the bus, or she's posing them, getting them ready with the banner, she's marching into the service with others, she's seated, whatever it is, but we see that she is actually there participating. The students themselves being there, because I mean, I could take this off the internet. I could go and get some pics from my colleagues or my friends or a student who went to the function and say, send your pictures, come give me put stuff that I was there as well. But really, I was not. So it would be more, to me, I would prefer to see that the teacher is there during the progression of that event.
Thank
So
you
if
so
it's,
much,
if it's a
Miss Ball.
beach cleanup, we
Yes.
should be seeing you cleaning up, taking up garbage, not just posing. Others should have even some candid pictures of you being there as right, having lunch, because you could always walk onto the beach having a good time, but you put your t-shirt on or your cover, and you go and take up 2 garbage and pose a picture. But I mean, you're having lunch with your colleagues, you may be playing a game afterwards. So we see that you're there during the progression of the event.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Miss Ball. I'm going to invite Miss Finlayson, if you through you, Miss Willis at this time. What we're asking for is, what else could you put there as evidence apart from taking some picture? Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Miss Willis, go ahead.
For it to be more real, I think a video is more appropriate for this section, because I have seen where persons go to these functions, they go to every stall, every area, and they take pictures. They take pictures and they uploaded it in their thing and say that they are here while they were not there, and they still have time to leave. So they just go there to take the pictures just the same. So a video maybe would be more appropriate to say you were there when they started, when this person was doing their speech, that person with a timestamp. So the video would be an appropriate thing to do.
Thanks more. So we are saying video. Now, I'm seeing some very important points in the chat, Miss Phyllis. I'm not sure if you're following them, but I like these ideas. I think they are very valid, and I'm happy, teachers, that you're sharing that. So some persons, and I love the idea of the reflection, a report. I love, yes, so pictures along with the video, the program, having a copy of the program, and if you're a part of it, your name being on it as evidence. Very good points being reflected in the chat here. Very good, teachers. Evidence of our presence can be written or reflected. Yes. All right. What about feedback or report from the students? Could we add reports from the students who are part of it or the parents being a part of it? I'm going to go to Miss Graham. Miss Graham, you can unmute, and then I'm going to hand back. I can only take one more because I really want Miss Phyllis to go through all of her presentation. So we're going to allow Miss Graham, PC, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My question is, how old can my evidence be?
All right, so you're talking about the portfolio for the academic year, because remember your appraisal is annual. So you're looking at between September of the academic year and to the point when it's being done, so whether it's June or July. So whatever it is that you're doing should be within that period, because what you have done last year, you don't have the same set of students, just like you're not writing using the same lesson plan from last year without adding. So you can't have evidence from last year. If you're doing it for your appraisal, again, remember, Ms. Phyllis did a very good job of pointing out different things that we use our portfolio for. So if you're using it for your appraisal, it has to be within the academic year. However, if you're doing, let's say, I'm going to use the current one, you're applying for the Master Teacher Program, which I'm encouraging you to do. Excellent teachers, please ensure that you have your evidence and apply. We're trying to see how as many master teachers as we can get in the island, excellent teachers who can really enhance, teaching and learning. And remember, one of the benefits of that is hard work, but you're paid as a vice principal. So we want excellent teachers to be in the classroom, serving as teachers, but being paid as a vice principal. Just aside, if you're applying for an education officer position, you're applying to JTC, you're applying to, these are things that you would now be putting all the work that you have done over the years together in your portfolio. And so you don't just discard what you've done previously, but what you're now doing for the academic year currently is for your appraisal, whereas the other things would be evidence of your work over the years as a teacher. I hope that answered the question, Ms. Graham. I'm going to hop back.
Yes, it has. Thank you so much.
I'm going to go right to Ms. Finley. Ms. Finley, over to you.
All right, so
sorry, just the persons whose hands are raised, we're going to have a session when we allow you to, but I want Ms. Finley to go through and now do guiding principle 6. Go ahead, Ms. Finley.
All right, so guiding principle 6. Now this is now talking about how the teacher conducts him or herself in a manner that uplifts the profession. And what we're now looking at here is copies of appraisals and recommendations. So the appraisals that you would have gone through, those would be on your file. If you don't have access to them, you can always ask for them, scan them, and upload them to your website or link them, place a hyperlink on your website so that persons can get to your appraisals. Also recommendations, any recommendations that would have been given over time, then you can place that also under guiding principle 6. Now, guiding principle 6 also looks at the involvement in other activities such as curriculum development or revision. We're also looking at reviewing of forthcoming textbooks, membership in professional bodies, whether it be JTA, a subject body, for example, Jamaica Spanish Teachers Association, clubs within the school, and community associations. So any association that you're a part of, you can place evidence, of course, under guiding principle 6 on your e-portfolio. Any teaching awards or recognition that you would have gotten can also be placed there, along with any publications that you would have done, whether it be even a blog or a publication under the Gleaner and or Observer, then of course you can place that on your website. We're also looking at papers or presentations delivered on teaching and service on teaching committees, along with assistance to colleagues on teaching matters, again, whether it be through professional development workshops that your school would be providing, and also evidence of peer review. So these are things that you can find under guiding principle 6 that can be uploaded. Again, as I've said, it takes time. You won't have all that is required at once. And of course, you're all busy persons, so at times we might find it hard to go on and make the necessary little adjustments that need to be made. All right, so we have right here guiding principle 6. So this is Miss Harris's guiding principle 6. All right, so as you can see, she would have had links set up for appraisal, recommendation, survey report. She has her picture here, proud member of JTA since 2015, trainings that she would have done for JTA and so on. She has placed them on her, under guiding principle 6 on her e-portfolio. All right, so we also have a few videos there. So we have right here an example of guiding principle 6 and what can go into guiding principle 6 in your e-portfolio. Again, I know that some persons might not have as much experience as others, but whatever you have over time, you take your time, you build, and you add the necessary information that you would need. Now, under guiding principle 6 for my e-portfolio, which would be somewhat different based on what I would have accomplished so far, then all right. Okay, then you'll see. So it's based on what you would have accomplished over a period of time. Again, some persons have been in the system a bit longer, so they would have a bit more. Some persons a shorter period of time, so they might have maybe a little bit less or so on, but you add what you can when you have it. All right, so as you can see right here, the system is doing its own thing. All right, so for example, performance appraisal, you'll see a link there, you click it and it will take you to the appraisals if you have your appraisals ready. And anything that you would have participated in. And again, as was said before, videos are good also. So you can upload your videos and place them there. All right, so this would be what mine would look like based on my accomplishments so far under guiding principle 6. So again, just go back, look at your guiding principles to your appraisals and whatever it is that you can add to your e-portfolio to make it looking all nice and dandy, then you can go ahead and do so. All right, so we're now at the question and answer session.
All right, so 2 hands are raised. I'm going to take those 2, 3. All right, go ahead, Miss. Go ahead, Miss Krishana. You're prompted to unmute.
Good afternoon, colleagues. I just got back electricity where I'm living about 10 minutes ago and I'm joining late. Would it be possible if our presenter could go back just a bit and just present the slide on what should be in guiding principle number 5 so I could just take a quick picture of it, please?
All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you you're talking about what should be in guiding principle 6?
Right, when she was presenting, because I came on when she was at 6, so I was able to screenshot those. But for 5, I really would like if she could go back to just that slide. I could just simply screenshot it and that would do me a world of good right there. Thank you very much.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
While you're doing that, just to say that this list is not exhausted, because one of the things that we're going to now look at is to ask for other suggestions. So for guiding principle, we're going to go from guiding principle 1 through to 6, and we want you to share what are some things that you have been doing, or what are some things having been to the session or the sessions, what are some things that you're seeing that you would have done, but you did not document it, but you have done the work. what are some ways that you can now put this in your e-portfolio? One of the good things about the e-portfolio is that you're able to do so much more than the paper portfolio. So let me share my experience with you with the paper portfolio. When I was nominated for the LASCO Teacher of the Year, of course, it wasn't the day of e-portfolio. So I had a very thick paper portfolio to show, you know, all the work that I've been doing, etc. And, you know, you keep building on that. And so when I applied for master teacher, you know, the same thing. But I find now that, you know, we have the advantage today of putting all of that in a drive. And from that, you can now create your e-portfolio using your site. And remember, teachers, one of the beautiful things about this is that you can do all these links, because when you have, let's say you're using Google Site and you have created your Google site, do you realize that you can hyperlink, you can put your LinkedIn connections here, all the things that you do, you can just put a link there and it takes you to your YouTube channel. You don't have to put the video here. You put the link to YouTube channel, you put the link to an article that you might write. We're encouraging, for example, now the members of the Mentors Association of Jamaica to do their vlogs, their blogs, and just make your work known. Teachers, just go and do what you have been doing, but add to that by creating the evidence, because all that we have seen that Ms. Finlayson has put forward here is evidence of your work being documented. So you stayed behind and you did some work with a child based on challenges that you've observed. You're doing action research there and you're not documenting it. And so at the end of the year, when they talk about research that you've done, you have nothing. Right? What about, being a part of those extracurricular? Yes. 4-H, your JCDC. Yes. You have to have the evidence and put those in, because those are your involvement in the community, in the school community, in your church community. You're serving as a justice of the peace. You have come up with some creative solutions. Where is the evidence of what you have done? It might be that there's a child that you've seen on the street that you realize that, all right, I'm going to take this child on and I'm going to send work to. Where is the evidence that you have been doing it? These are things that you must put in your portfolio. And listen, one of the weaknesses that I have, which I want to encourage you teachers to not repeat or do, and that is of not marketing yourself by shortchanging yourself and not showcasing what you're doing. And you do the work and other people take the credit. You have to have the evidence of your work where you can take the credit. We encourage our mentors, as you can see here, when they do their presentation, brand your work. It's your work. So you brand your work, you share your work, and ensure that you have the evidence. And we are creating that space at the Teaching Council by pulling excellent teachers in different areas when we need trainers, when we need volunteers to do things. And we are saying, come out, do the work, document it, get your letters, put it in your e-portfolio, get your peers. So you would have done training here today. Get some of the persons on the platform, Ms. Finlayson, to give a feedback, the evaluation, share the evaluation, etc. So I want you teachers to really stop doing the work and not documenting so you can get the credit for it. You're excellent teachers. You just need to have the evidence to prove to the system that, look, I deserve to be a master teacher. Based on the work that I'm doing, I could make a good education officer. Based on the work that I'm doing, I maybe would be a good principal, but you have to have this. So when you go for the interviews, teachers, you have the work. Take it from me, I have done that. I mean, I would have got the accolade of being the TVET Teacher of the Year in Jamaica, LASCO Teacher, Master Teacher, blah, Carlong, quite a number of awards, but take it from me that if it were left up to me, I wouldn't. It's others who say, Ingrid, you have to go, you have to do, because, it's so easy to just put ourselves on the back burner and keep doing the work. And I'm encouraging you, don't do that. You're doing the work, show the evidence, document. Teachers, I want to encourage you to collect data. You see all the work you're doing with your students, collect data on your students. I don't want to see the mark books where you have the name and an 80 and 20 and 15. It means nothing. And all the mentors will know that. When it comes to data, you need to have the demographic data. Where do the students live? What community? What are some things that will affect? Collect the data, teachers, and you can use that. And these are research you're doing and publishing your work. All right. So I want you teachers to just start September fresh for those who for the years behind have not been doing that. You're doing the work. This is a new start. See this as a fresh start, and you're going to use this now to ensure that going forward, your work and your worth are being documented and showcased. All right, over to Ms. Finley, so as we go back to the question and answer.
Okay, next person. 9 hands raised.
Good afternoon.
Good
Rachel appeared here. While I agree with the teacher who spoke on someone who can just take a picture and say they were there and put it in the portfolio, Miss Ingrid just touched on something a while ago where you do the work and others take the credit. I have been at many functions, workshops, seminars, and see teachers just make sure they take a picture of themselves with it and left. So my suggestion at that point, I might not have as many pictures as Mrs. Finlayson to put up that I participate. But what can be added to that, as someone suggested in the chat, is a reflection, is a report. Because I have done several training at my school. I'm not in any picture, I'm not a picture person. I didn't know that something like this was coming where I have to have pictures and this. And I've seen too, where persons do just as what I think Mrs. Barr, who said it earlier, did. And they get the accolades and so on. So I'm saying, yes, the picture is good. Myself might not be able to do a video either. I like to write. I am a writer. So I can write myself through. So I don't think that I should be penalized if I have more pictures or less pictures as against a person who prefers to write a report or a reflection. So the persons who are doing the appraisal need to be balanced in what they are looking for as well.
I want you to pause right there, and yes, because I want you to know, and for the others listening to understand this. Teachers, just as you can produce a picture, that's just a picture, you can produce a report, that's just a report. You have to have a balance also in your e-portfolio. So when you present the report, it could be secondhand, but because you're a good writer, you can make it sound as though you were there. So you have to have the evidence with the report to say that you were actually here, or this is what you did. I noticed someone put in the chat about, branding your work. You're the one who coordinated for a graduation at your school. How do you brand that? You're the one who did all the decorating, the organizing. That's your work. How do you brand it? So you write your report, but what's the evidence that will go with that? So it's a similar point that you're making that I want us to pay attention to. So while you write the report, you should have others. So it could be that you have the agenda. It could be that you have the program, but there should be other things that accompany that. Again, we talk in research about triangulation. And teachers, let me tell you something, the system can't be better than us, Jamaica nowhere else will be better than us as teachers. So what I want to encourage us is that we practice these things that are there. When we talk about triangulation, it's not just for research. So you are the one who did the graduation. I'm going to hold to that point for a minute. You're the one who did all the work for the graduation. You're the events planner then for the graduation. Where's the email from your principal asking you to do this? What communication did you send to whomever for what? So you have triangulation means that you're getting data from different sources. So if you say that you did a function for your parents, you would have created an invitation letter, you would have done certificates, different communication, different things, put them together and put the heading there. So that's triangulation. It doesn't matter it could be the wickedest, it could be Satan himself marking your e-portfolio. When you have the evidence and that we talk about from different sources, then who can say that you did not do the work? But if you just put a picture there or anybody can question that. And unfortunately, teachers, I want to say this, it's really very sad, but there's a challenge with integrity amongst us. There are some teachers who really are doing some good work and some who are taking the credit, and you will come out with 150 out of 130 on the e-portfolio, and somebody who's really working come out with 90. And I've seen it happen. I'm working as an administrator. I have seen it happen in the school setting, because This is what we're trying to empower you to do. Get your evidence so no one can take your work and say it's theirs. And they look good and you're wondering, oh my God, how did this happen to me? We're saying go September, being empowered, being inspired and being equipped so that at the end of the school year, you're not just another teacher, but you're a teacher leader who took responsibility for what you're doing and you're documenting it. Okay, thanks. Next person, go ahead. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
The next hand raised is, that was Miss Francis who just spoke a while ago?
No, I think it was Spirit.
Okay. She's my namesake. I should have that. Go ahead, Miss Francis.
Good afternoon.
Just a minute. Miss Phyllis, you can take about 4 more, and then we are going to be hopping over. We're going to make all the sessions available to you on the JTC website. We're working to have them up by the end of the week. And remember, your assignment is due next week, Friday, midnight. We won't be taking any after that. All right. The persons who are asking about the certificate, remember, we don't give certificate of participation. What we want is competence to see what you've learned. We're not asking you to go and create a site like Miss Finlayson or Mrs. Harris or Miss Evans or presenters who are here, but we're saying use what you have and let us see. We've asked for minimal things as evidence that you have learned, and out of that, we ask that you complete the data sheet, the Google form that's sent, upload your work, and you will be certified from there. Go ahead, Miss Francis.
Okay, I had originally something else to say, but based on what you just said, it gave me an idea for another situation. For the workshop that I did with the students leading up to their exit exam, I wrote a letter to the person, the principal and the vice principal and everybody involved with providing the rooms for me to go and do the workshop with the students. So the person would be dealing with the sanitization, persons would be put for that. So I have all of the evidence of those letters, but the permission for the parents to give the students to come, that was done via WhatsApp, and I cleared my phone the other day because it was getting full. So I don't have any evidence from the parent side and the communication that I'm reminding them that it's tomorrow or so on. So I don't have it from that side. So is there a problem that I don't have it, the permission, them giving permission for them to come? I don't have evidence of that part, but I have evidence of requesting the room and the sanitization and all of that.
So what will you now have as evidence that the activity actually took place?
At one point they ended up doing a test. They did a mock test when they came, and let me see. The things that I photocopied for them, there will be a log of the photocopy, but there won't be a log of that they got it. I have what's left back for persons who didn't come, but students got what they got. And I think I have some pictures as well of some of the workers. Some of the students couldn't come back to collect it after it was marked. So I took pictures of it and sent it to them. So I have pictures of some of what they did. And some of the students left some of their paper. They didn't come back in for all of them. So I have work for some of them still.
All right, so someone has suggested that you ask one of the parents to resend the notes. And again, you will have to be, because don't think that we are here to give you all the answers. We're here to have a conversation and to work together to see some of the things, some of the effective practices that we can, collaborate and get answers to. We don't have all the answers. So here your colleagues are sharing some ideas of how you do that. But I want you to understand, whenever you're going forward, just remember triangulation. I must have evidence from different sources so no one can question the authenticity of my work. No one can question my integrity, whether this was done or not. So however you're going to do that, you might have to just, look in the chat. Your colleagues are sharing.
Okay, I'll look in the chat. But what I originally wanted to do is to ask if we could screenshot that we are at this meeting and use it as one of the evidence. Because I didn't screenshot it with other person's faces in it. I screenshotted it with my little icon minimized at the top with my name and you talking. So I don't know if I'm permitted to use your picture in the screenshot.
Right,
as
But if you do the
medium in the
screenshot,
video.
remember that anybody could send you a copy of the screenshot.
No, anybody could, I wouldn't use it as by itself. I would use it as additional.
Again, triangulation. So
Yes, so I would use it like that.
it's triangulation. So you're looking at how you collect evidences of, you being here.
So do I have permission of putting a screenshot of your face in mine?
As long as it's a pretty side, no problem. All right. All right. But I hope that you do plan to do the assessment though, because I think that is what is
Yes,
really.
I want to do it, and I pray that if I'm running out of time, you'll extend the
I
time.
realize that some persons are actually sharing. I've seen 4 persons responding so far to the invitation to complete. So I'm going to look at them to see. I'm also copying to put back in the chat just to know the form that persons are asking about.
An invitation was sent for us to complete?
The form, yes. I'm putting it in the chat now. Teachers, don't type in the chat now. Let me get a chance to share the chat so that persons who did not get the link yesterday, this is where you're to go. So this form that I'm sharing with you is to be used to access and upload the tasks. All right. So, and the registration officers' numbers are also there for your region. You can reach out to them if you're having a challenge when you're registering. If you get, for example, authentication failure or error, it means that what we have at JTC and what you're putting in are 2 different things. It might just be that you got married, your name is different, or it's just something different that we have. The system is not going to allow you to go further because we don't want you to take somebody else's work. So what I want you to understand, sorry, is Mrs. Burrell put it in the chat earlier, Mrs. Harris Burrell, that for you to get your certificate, you need to be a registered teacher. And if you go back to the Act, teachers, you know that you ought not to be teaching without being registered. And that is in the Education Act, all right? It's not what we say or think, it is what is in the Act. Yes, the session is being recorded and it will be shared. So look at what I shared a while ago for the persons who might have missed it. Try not to type in the chat now so everyone can copy this. And what this is, I'm going to screen share just a minute. I know I'm going to go back to some persons, but what I'm going to do now is to screen share so you can see the form. I'm going to just pause for a minute, Miss Finlayson. So I hope I'm saying your name right. I think I'm doing some foolishness and saying rubbish, pronouncing your name. But I'm going to go to that form just 1 minute and show you the form that I'm making reference to. Miss Evans earlier would have, let me go back to it. Miss Evans earlier would have outlined the tasks that we're asking you to produce as evidence that you actually have been in the session. Here it is. So this is the one that I was making reference to. When you click on the URL I shared a while ago, this is what is going to come up. And it will outline the tasks are here. And when you go through this, you're going to be asked to upload the work that you have done at the end. Here I was referring to your officers for persons who might want to screenshot this. So this is the list of your officers. Miss Althea O'Brien is our senior licensing officer, and these are the registration officers for the different regions. All right. So if you're in a particular region, this is the main mobile. So these are different mobile numbers that you can reach out to your region, your registration officers based on the region that you're in. All right. I want to also point out for those who want to screenshot this, let me make this a little smaller. So these are the things that you're asked to do, which you would have, we saw persons showcasing that earlier. So when you, teachers, please don't complete the form and not upload the work, all right? And when you do this, I'm going to share this with you. This is what is required of you to do. Mrs. Burrell, can you share this? I would have shared this with you. Is there a way for you to share this in the chat? Just the task alone. For persons who want to be certified, that is, persons who want to go through. We are not giving certificate of participation, right? If you want your certificate of competence, we ask that you carry out these tasks. And Miss Evans has volunteered to go through with you maybe for another half an hour, an hour, for persons who might have questions as to how to do this. We went through some of this on Tuesday, but just for reinforcement and any question that you might have as it relates to what needs to be done. Over to you, Miss Finlinson. Back to, let me stop screen sharing. You can take 2 more questions and then we're going to head over to Miss Evans. These are due next week, Friday. Next week, Friday. All right, so someone is asking about the Teaching Commission and the Teaching Council. And this is a homework that you need to do. We have different agencies there. There are different agencies in the Ministry of Education, and all the different agencies have different roles. All my mentors, I'm sure, can answer that, because that is something that all mentors would have had to do, looking at the different agencies in the Ministry of Education, NET, NEI, JTC, and their different roles and how they impact you as a teacher. All right. And for the persons who are not yet mentors, we have trained mentors, and we are aiming to have trained mentors in all schools in the island. Come September, cohort 3, we start. Mr. Chin, Mr. Lonway Chin, our mentoring officers here with us. We start at the end of September into October with the schools where we do not yet have trained mentors. And then we go back to the other schools, because we proudly say, though with regret, that we have a great attrition amongst our mentors, because we find that they're growing and moving. And so we have a number of mentors who are now principals, vice principals, and they're carrying out education officers and so on. But we're happy for that, because the aim, the mantra of the mentorship program is to lift as you climb. And so we are pushing you. We want you to stretch and grow. And though it might be hard sometimes, and mentors, of course, know that when it comes to the community involvement, that's your voluntary work. You put that in your e-portfolio. You have records of that. And we have the space. Miss Evans is a social media. Miss Evans and Mrs. Harris Burrell, they work with the social media aspect of the association. And they are pushing to have teachers showcasing their work on the MAJ site and doing your research. Some mentors are now doing their research, and we're getting feedback for publication. They're working on their e-portfolio. Teachers, remember, this is not the day when we cover our books. This is the day when we share and we grow together. All right. So I want to now hand over to, there are 2 hands, Miss Dorman and Maria, and then I'm going to allow Miss Finlayson to close her session after that. And then we are going to, I'm going to take those 2. Go ahead, Miss Dorman. And then we go to Miss Evans. Go ahead, Miss Dorman.
Good afternoon, colleagues.
Good afternoon. We're hearing you.
Good afternoon. Good
Okay,
afternoon.
yes, I want to refer to a GP4, which speaks to the newsletter. And I am wondering, I am a teacher of the performing arts. I am wondering if we could consider teachers who are producing plays, teachers who are creating their own YouTubes, if we could use that instead of the newsletter.
But it doesn't have to be a newsletter.
Okay.
You create your brochure. When you're putting all of this together, that's your work. That's production.
Okay.
That's all about.
So if I produce a play, I could be credited instead of a newsletter.
But wouldn't you have to write the play? You can't just produce the play. You would have to write the play, wouldn't you?
Right. Yeah. So they would be writing.
So that's your work. That's your work.
Okay.
And you even move on now to have not just a written aspect of it, but you videotape your production. That's your work. And so you brand it. Yes.
Okay.
All
so
right.
that can be used instead of the newsletter.
It is not instead of. It is your newsletter. It is your work, because you would have the documentation. So it's not an instead of. It is what you do for the newsletter. So you
Okay, all
print
right,
in
yeah.
such a way that, yes, that's your publication. And it could be something that's used by others, but you make sure you brand it as your work.
That's
Copyright.
my work. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks so much.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Maria, and then I'm going to hand over Miss Finlayson and then over.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Wilmot, and good afternoon, colleagues. I have a quick, well, before I ask my question, I just want to say thank you very much for having me in this session. It was really informative, really enjoyable. My question is, I am not from Jamaica. Who do I reach out to for assistance?
All right, I'm going to put my email in the chat once again.
I emailed you.
I don't see it, but I'm going to check it. What did you put as the subject?
I can't remember offhand what I put as this subject, but I did email you.
I've been checking, I've been going through my emails and responding today.
And you didn't get it?
No, resend it. Are you sure you have the correct email address, right?
Yes, please, yes.
All right, just resend it.
Okay, great.
Not a problem.
But thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. All right, so Ms. Morgan, no, I'm not sending my email for you to flood my email with questions. All right, I'm putting it in the chat. Just to say, teachers, that Miss Finlayson, over to you. Go ahead, Miss Finlayson, and then yes, and then Miss Evans. Do go ahead.
All right, no problem. So thank you guys for having me here. It was a pleasure coming to share guiding principles 5 and 6 with you. Miss Evans will be going back through the competency task, I believe. So I hope that whatever you got here today can be used or is helpful in helping to create your e-portfolio. And of course, what was presented was not limited to just that. Go to the website, download the appraisal document. By going through, you can see what is required for each guiding principle. So thank you guys again and stay safe.
All right, let's put our hands together in virtual land and thank our presenter today for just availing herself and doing such an excellent job. I want to also thank the team lead for this. Mrs. Harris Burrell is a team lead for this session, and she would have pulled on board 2 of our other mentors. So we want to put our hands together and also thank Mrs. Harris Burrell for team leading this session where we're looking at the action plan, the e-portfolio, and how we use the 6 guiding principles to guide us. Teachers, I'm going to ask for the persons who need assistance. Remember, it's not mandatory that you stay on now with Miss Evans, who is going to take you through the tasks. And if you need further assistance, please just reach out to her. If you send the email here, I won't be getting it. However, as you go to the task, as you go to the form that is shared, I want you to put there your email and we will stay in touch with you. All right, so go ahead and yes, we're clapping. Go ahead, Miss Evans, over to you. Mrs. Burrell, do you want to say anything before Miss Evans comes on, being the team lead for this?
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say thank you so much for your time, and I really trust that you put into practice what you would have learned, and we really, really want to uplift the education profession, and you are the teacher leaders that we want in our system. So thanks to you once again.
All right, thanks, Mrs. Burrell. Over to you, Miss Evans.
All right, thank you so much for having me again. I am just pulling up my screen. So let us get into it. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, I am Miss Evans. What I'll be going through with you for a period of time is just to go ahead and look at the Canva and how we can look at representing our e-portfolio in the best way possible. Of course, we're going to align what we can create on Canva to our e-portfolio using the competency tasks that have been assigned to you. So what I'm going to do now is I am just going to go ahead and show you some examples. Just to kind of reiterate what we had done before, looking at using Canva to create headers for our e-portfolio.
All
What
right.
you'd have
Sorry, Ms. Evans, just a minute. Mr. Chin, do you have any closing remarks, anything you want to share?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'll be putting my email in the chat as a backup if you're not getting Mrs. Peart, which is Wilmot, sorry, because we work in the same office. So if there are any questions I can help you with, I will try as best as possible to assist. So I'm going to put my email in the chat for any further assistance that you might need. And I concur with my colleagues that we are overjoyed that you have chosen to be here so that we can help to uplift the education sector together. So I'm going to put my email in the chat. So thanks for coming, and I hand over now to Ms. Evans.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again, sir. Okay, so here we are now looking again at just some examples of some headers that we can create using Canva. I went ahead and took the liberty of showing you some examples. Now, earlier when we looked at creating our header, we looked at our header with a background or professional photo or a name and everything like that. So I went ahead and did some that we can, just to show you examples of how we can specifically tailor it to our niche, to our job title. So for example, what we have on my screen here is what the header would look like for example, an art teacher. You'd see the art element being represented. If you are a PE teacher, you'll see how the background can play into your header. If you're a science teacher, you're just looking at these different examples and playing with the backgrounds that you have on Canva and aligning them to your job title, aligning them to your school colors. You can add your school logo as well. And it will also, you know, really tie everything together to your e-portfolio, representing who you are as a professional individual, but who you're representing, which is your institution as well, right? So what we're going to do today is just to reiterate the header, which you see here. We looked at the logo, but I'm also going to be showing you examples of creating a banner for your Google site, as well as videos, right? You'd have seen here that I have some banner examples. I just want to check. You can go ahead and type in the chat if we're seeing my screen. I just prompted a while ago, I'm not sure. All right, so I see that. Yes, all right, no problem. So here we're looking at some banner examples. Now, I would have shown you the header. So let's say, for example, we're looking at the cover header for our first page on our e-portfolio, right? This is the one that is going to grab their attention. This is the one that we want to show them. And then we come over now to our to a smaller banner size, but it's just as direct. So what you'd have seen me have here is to have my guiding principle, the number and the guiding principle at the end of it. At the bottom of it, representing in different ways. Now, if this guiding principle one is teacher knows the subject that she teaches, you'd see here that I have an example of my classroom in the background, just to represent this guiding principle. I can delete my photo and just have it in the center. And then I can use it as is, or I can have my photo as I would have wanted. But just to give you examples of how to display the different guiding principles if you want to on your site. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Google Sites, and I'm going to show you how I would have uploaded both headers, one for the cover page like we would have seen, and now this one as my actual page. All right, so let me go ahead and do so. All right, oh, sorry, so here we go. So my Google site is open. Again, I'm going to download this as a PNG. So I'm going to go ahead and click download and then click PNG, click on page 2 because I have 6 different pages open. I'm going to click on page 2 and I'm going to go ahead and hit download. Once I hit download, you'll see that I'm being prompted that it's downloaded and it will take me directly to the folder, it will be downloaded to the folder on my device. I'm going to follow the same step with the banner that I would have wanted, all right? So let's say, for example, I use page 2 as well. This type of banner, you'd see here that I used one of the backgrounds provided by Canva just to align my guiding principle in a nice and neat way for it to be represented on my site. So I'm going to go ahead again, download PNG, and I'm going to go ahead and click page number 2, and I'm going to download, right? What I'm also going to do is animate, for example. So this is the PNG. What I'm going to do, for example, is to animate this one right here. So let's say I choose the word guiding. I go to effects, not effects, sorry. I go to animate, and I want it to be typed like that. And then for the teacher knows the subject that he or she teaches, I am going to go ahead and block this one, right? For my image, I would have it raised while that is being done. So I see that it's 5 seconds here. So I am going to go ahead and download to GIF. So if I want it to be animated, I have to download it as GIF. I'm going to download as GIF and choose the page that I'm interested in, which is page 3. So as you can see here, my photos, so both headers, my header, cover, and header will be there. So now I've downloaded both, downloaded the PNG, and I've downloaded the animated GIF that I would have wanted. Now I'm back to my website. Now, when we looked at our website earlier, we looked at first changing our header. So based on the header type. So you'd see here that my header type is cover, which is the first header that I was showing you. So if I want to change this again, I'm going to go to upload. Then from my downloads, I'm going to find my information there. And then I'm going to remove the readability. So now my header is perfectly placed, it's perfectly aligned. So what I'm going to do, I have my untitled page here. So I would have inserted a page, which would be, for example, guiding principle 1 for me. I would have my untitled page here, which I am going to click on the buttons and rename, or I can just double click and rename guiding principle 1. So now that's the name of my page. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change my header type to banner, which would specifically work with the dimension of the photo that I would have just saved. And I'm going to go ahead now and upload what I have now as guiding principle 1. Right, see if I can reset this header type, change the image, upload. Okay, so I do know why this is causing an issue, but okay. So what you'd see here is how it looks on the banner there. All right, someone is saying I should go a little slower. I'm seeing that person's. All right, so let me go ahead and take it step by step. What I'm going to do though is just what I have done so far is just created my banner on, for example, I would have created my banner on Canva, which is what you'd have seen here, but I would have done this before. So I had my element, which is just a background that I would have added as the background to my template. I would have added my text. So I would have added a large text and a smaller text as guiding principle, however you choose to align it. If you want it in cursive, if you want it to be bold, if you want it to be smaller, if you want photos of your work in your banner, you can go ahead and do so. What I did was just have it plain and simple, not too in the face, just have it neat and professional with my photo. And then I went ahead and I clicked on download and downloaded it as a PNG. What I'm here to do now is to add this to my professional portfolio. So I'm going to go ahead and now what I realized with this, which is actually something that I am starting to understand with Google Sites. If it is that you're having the same issue, you'd see that although it's a large banner or a banner only, it's still functioning as the same page that I would have created here, right? So when I create these pages, because I would have created it in the cover header type, with the new page that I would have created, it would still function off of that. Because what they do is they duplicate the page that you're now creating and give you that same dimension. However, for me to go ahead and correct this, what I do is just go back to my Canva in the LinkedIn banner that I have, and I just make the adjustments to the size of my image. And this is just an example. Go ahead and make the necessary adjustments. It's not something that you necessarily have to do once, but you go ahead, you make the adjustments and you resave and re-upload until you have it properly aligned for your website, right? So I'm seeing how to include the logo again. All right, not a problem. That is something that I will do, but I'm going to also show you examples of the video first. So we're going to revisit that in a while. What I'm going to do again is just re-upload my photo. I hope it's aligns better here. Okay, here we go. So now when I go on my Guiding Principle 1 page, you'd see that I have my header. What I would do though, or what I would suggest is, for example, if in creating your site, you want to have this homogeneous site, you want to somehow ensure that each page is properly representing, or each page reflects the guiding principle, but still have this uniqueness, but this one look, right? You want it to look clean, you want it to flow. So personally, what I would do is for all my guiding principles, I'd probably have the same background at the top, but just go ahead in Canva and just duplicate. So I'd have guiding principle 2 and have the word guiding principle 3, guiding principle 4, guiding principle 5. So that is how I will go ahead and align that. Okay. Now I'm seeing questions here as to how I'd go ahead and add a page. Now I'd have my home page here. So on the right-hand side, you'd see that I have 3. I have insert, pages, and themes. When I click on pages, I have the options here to interact with all the pages that I do have on my site, whether it's a major page or a sub page, right? So I have guiding principle 1 here. I go to the bottom here and I click on new page. So when I click on guiding principle 1, I can go on new page, and then I will type in my next page name, which is guiding principle 2. And I can go on and go on and go on until I have all the different guiding principles outlined. What I can also do is click on this 3 page here and duplicate the page. So you'd see that you'd have the duplicates, but instead of having it copy off, I just replace and go ahead and add page 3. So I can do it however way I choose. Now, let's say, for example, for guiding principle 1, you want to add a sub page. You want a page that under guiding principle 1 still shows, for example, some of the different evidence that you want outlined in a more organized way. Same, I would go ahead and click on the 3 buttons here, and I would add a sub page. So when I add the sub page, again, for example, let's say I want to type evidence. The guiding principles subpage will be right underneath it. Now, what you're seeing here, and I'm going to go ahead and preview. What you're seeing here is that this is my guiding principle page, because oftentimes I've marked sites when, because persons have created their subpages, they've forgotten to actually have information on the main page. For example, my main page would be guiding principle 1, and my subpage is evidence. But because I've worked on my evidence page and added information on my evidence page, I would have forgotten or overlooked my guiding principle 1 page. for the fact that I am assuming that persons would look at my header page here on my time, the outline of my pages, and come on Guiding Principle 1 and just click on evidence. But the Guiding Principle 1 page still exists. So that is something to note when we go ahead and put up our information on our different pages, right? So that's how we go ahead and create the page. So if I'm to look again at our competency tasks, right? For our home page, we say that we're looking for our personal brand. We're looking at how we are as a teacher. We're looking at your professional photo. We're looking at your logo. We're looking for your logo and your philosophy of education. So I'm going to clear this off. So here on my makeshift site, you see that you see my name is there, my job title. You see a little bit about me. Everything is properly presented. You see my logo affixed here at the top left of my website. And then you're going to scroll down and see my philosophy of education. Now, let's go ahead and look at that. The same banner that I would have created here in Canva, right? The same banner that I would have created in Canva. And if it is that you want this actual dimension, when you go to Canva, you just type in banner. When you go to Canva in your search bar, you type in banner and these will show. So when I scroll down here, let's say, for example, I am going to change this, just keeping just keeping the theme of my website alive. I'm going to go ahead and rename this philosophy. And I'm going to undo this. I apologize for going too fast, but I have a bit of a time constraint and I still want to at least give you an understanding of what it is that you can do using Canva on your ePortfolio site. So just bear with me. If the website and not the website, the link will be shared, so you'll still be able to watch it on your own pace, excuse me. So philosophy, and I'm going to type education. And I know you're saying, but Ms. Evans, where's the word off? So I have philosophy and I have education. So what I'm going to do now is I can use this and put the word off, but somehow change the style of it. And this is again where your creativity comes in. It really all depends on how you interact with the elements provided on Canva. There's no one or two way. There's no following Miss Evans or following Mrs. Burrell. It's just putting your own flair to your site. So I'm going to use, find off in a nice, pretty way that I can relate to. Okay, let's use this here. I'm going to, okay, that can't get me that. Okay, off. Let's just use this for want of a better word. I'm going to make it large. And I'm going to put it in the middle, but you see that you can't see. So what I can do is change the color to represent another color that I use. For example, if I choose brown, but you see that it doesn't necessarily show because of the type of font. So you also want to bear that in mind. But not wanting to spend too much time on this, you can pick up what I'm putting down or what I'm trying to achieve here, right? So I can put the word off there in the center just to kind of give it this different look, or I can carry down philosophy and have the word off in its own line, philosophy of education, but still putting it in that way. Now, again, what I'm about to show you is on my homepage. When we're looking for your philosophy of education, you can do one of two things. You can go to insert and in your text box, actually type your header. So in your text box, you can type philosophy of education, right? You create your own header here. You can make it a lot larger if you'd like. You can change the style. You can also change the color to fit your color scheme. And then you can have it there. And put it there, right? What you can also do now in Canva is create that header. So you see here again, what I can do is animate, and I can make it bounce and make this shift and have that just right there. So I've completely animated my header. Now I'm going to go and to download, click on GIF, and then I'm going to choose the one that I want, and I'm going to download it. So here I see that my GIF is downloaded, which means that my animated text has been downloaded. What I'm going to do now, having downloaded this, I'm going to go back to my professional portfolio. Okay, let me just make sure that it's there. Wonderful. I'm going to go back to my professional portfolio. Remember, this is just an example of a header that you can use. Ooh. No. Okay, this is an example of a header that you can use for your philosophy of education page. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to insert images, and I'm going to upload the GIF that I just downloaded. So you'll see that my GIF has been downloaded, and I can drag and drop it to fit across the page, and I can carry it down. It's a little bit narrower. All right. And there I have my philosophy of education, right? Header, and that's on my website. So I have my home page, I have my header here. Then what I want my persons to be introduced to, I have my title, philosophy of education, under which I'd have my philosophy. When I go on preview now, you'd see how it flows. So now that I've created my header, and this is the first page, this is my first page of my ePortfolio, then I scroll down, and then I'd see philosophy of education. Again, this is something that I can create in Canva. So having uploaded my title, then I can go now to insert text box, and then my philosophy of education, hold on, just to show you how it would look with the text underneath it. My philosophy of education is that all teachers must love their students all day, every day. All right, so please forgive that. That's just something that came to my mind first. And then of course you'd have your paragraph and everything would be there. So now going on your and previewing your website, you'd see that you have your header, you have your philosophy of education, under which you have your philosophy of education title, under which you'd have your philosophy of education. All right, so that is something that we can also look at. Now, of course, I saw Mrs. Brown Francis asking, do you have to type it or can you upload it? You can upload it, you can type it however way you choose. But again, it's up to you, that's fine, however you want to, but we're just giving examples of how to still present it in different and creative ways. What I'm going to do now, and I'm going to go ahead and just share with you or show you an example of my portfolio. Just a piece of it, not all of it, but the piece that I want to really share with you is how to do videos in Canva. And I'm going to show you how you can represent it on your site. So here we are with my...
Sorry, Miss Evans? I
Yes,
see someone is asking about adding the button. You want to address that before you go to the video, how to add the button?
Sure thing. Because I was just going to show the video and then go ahead and do the button and the logo afterwards, since a lot of persons wanted to do that as well.
So just to let you know that she'll do it after. Okay, thanks, Miss.
Thank you so much, not a problem. All right, so here we are with my homepage, right? And of course, in relation to the button question, when I scroll down on my page, and you'd see that I too have my moving banner. Now I have different elements here, all of which would take it to the same page. For example, for the button that we're looking to create, the button itself would either be a video or text, but it's still creating this hyperlink effect to the different pages or external sites on your website, right? What you see here is I would have hyperlinked the word task 1 that would take me to the teacher registration page. I also hyperlinked the photo that would take me to the teacher registration page. So although we can create those elements in Canva, we can also do the same thing with just uploading photos and using the text to create that button effect, that hyperlink effect, using Google Sites. So this is just an example. So speaking of example, I'm going to go to the page, demonstrate your understanding of the 5 E's and the 4 C's. Again, this is just my mentorship site, right? What I'm showing you is how I would have incorporated the different elements of Canva and Google Sites to create my site, as well as add other elements to make it this holistic and interactive website. So I have my Canva feature there, and I have my Google Site feature here, which is your text. I would have added photos, added a YouTube video or YouTube videos, and this right here is a link that takes me to an external site. So it says 12 ways technology can support authentic learning. When you come on my site, if you want to read more on authentic learning, I would have given you the option to do so, which when you click on it, takes you to that page, right? So there it is. And I'll show you how to do that as well. But what I'm really showing you again is how we can add the video. So step 6 is adding at least one appropriate video using the guiding principles, right? So you see here that I'd have my video presentation, and I've added my videos, which I would have uploaded into my Google Drive and inserted from Google Sites. So what I'm going to show you is just an example of a video that can be created on Canva. I think I can play at least 20 seconds to give you an understanding, and then we can go ahead, look at the templates presented by Canva, and then we go and look at, again, recreating your logo and the buttons. All right, so as promised, there is my 30-second preview, right? So again, what we're looking at, all right, okay, so I saw a question, what's the rationale for creating the header, then uploading the GIF for philosophy of education? No, there really is no rationale, right, for the philosophy. There's no rationale. What we're looking at is you presenting your website in different creative ways. What I am showing you is a way, using Canva and creating different elements from Canva that can be added to your site to make it, just give it this extra professional look, extra creative feel, and to give you more ways that you can truly and creatively represent yourself. With this Canva addition, you see that Google Sites were limited in terms of elements. Canva gives us this additional opportunity to represent ourselves in just this extra, way to show us ourselves like that, right? Is it either then? Yeah, it's either either. You can type it, or you can go ahead and go in Canva and create it however you choose. You're not limited to do everything that I'm telling you to do, even on Canva, right? So if you want to, on your Google site, just use the elements there, that's fine. For those persons who might want something extra, we have this Canva element. So here you'd have seen a video, okay? What you're seeing in the video is that I would have used different elements. Now I'm going to go ahead and open the Canva, and then I'm going to search Canva. So you see that here on my Canva homepage, I'm going to search Canva and I'm going to type in, for example, educational video, which you see there is suggested. So when I click on that, there are different templates that I can go ahead and use to create. Again, for the persons with the Pro feature, here is the time where I would implore that you look and spend some time to go through, look at what's free versus what you have to pay for, and then go ahead and fit in the different elements, right? Go ahead and add your information to create your video. So if so with this, based on the time, I might not have time to go through all of this, but you're seeing the different templates that Canva allows for us to use. For example, let's click on this template here. You see that they outline different page and different page structures. So they have a page for your photos. They have a page that you can insert your videos. They have a page that you can have for your text. For example, this as a text box, as opposed to this for videos, right? So you can go ahead and play it. And on each individual site, you see that you can change the time or edit the timing, however long you want each slide to be, which for the text box pages or any page with text, you'd want to, with the information there, read it to yourself, see how long it takes, and then adjust the time to fit that timing, because what you don't want is for the video to run too quickly and persons aren't able to view it. So you have that option there as well. All right, so I see that I am 15 minutes to the hour. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead, and I see persons asking about the button, and I see persons asking about the logo. So we have that element there again, just to show you how it can be added to your page, right? So let me just double check. Step 1 so far has been completed. Once you've added your homepage header, once you have your logo, which we see here, you have your name, professional photo is there, philosophy of education, check, you would have already completed step 1. On your homepage, you can also have an about the teacher page. You go ahead and talk about your rationale, offer some quotes or something that you can relate to. Add something about yourself there that persons can resonate with, and then have your philosophy, under which you'd have the table of contents as you would have seen here. Fine. Step 2, add the 6 pages, one for each guiding principle, add the title of each, and have them in accordance with each other. You'd have seen that once I've done that here, guiding principle 1, guiding principle 2, guiding principle 3, so forth, so forth, so forth. Step 2 is correct. You would get an extra sticker on when we're going through it, if we can see that the banners themselves on each page represents the guiding principles, right? So we don't just want to see guiding principle 1, and then when we go on the page, it's empty or there's nothing there, just to say you created it. So, again, we want to look at you to see you doing that. Please repeat step 1. Step 1 again is to, on your home page, have your professional photo, have your name, which school you're representing. We want to see you have your school logo or your personal logo. We want your philosophy of education to be there, highlighted. You can also have an about the teacher page or about the teacher section, something about yourself that ties in with your philosophy, anything like that. You're not limited to, but we are looking for these key elements on your home page. Step 2, like I said, is creating the pages. Once we see all 6 pages, then you can consider step 2 complete. Similarly, we're looking at adding, for step 3, adding at least 2 appropriate items for each guiding principle. So 2 appropriate items. So for example, teacher knows the subject that she teaches, as Mrs. Burrell and the other mentors would have gone through, looking at adding elements of, for example, lesson plans that you have to show, looking at adding your action plan here and so forth. So tying in that and how you can put everything there together. Step 4 now, let's go on to adding at least 1 button link. Now going back here, we're looking at the button link that can be used during that can be created in Google Sites, and I'm going to show you how to create that button using Canva. So let us start with Google Sites. So on my home page, what I want to do is, so under my philosophy of education, as you can see, I can also reorder my elements by dragging and dropping them however I want. So instead of this being the philosophy of education, I'm now going to turn this as my table of contents header. And then I'm going to add my photo. Now, the photo that I can add, for example, is I can go here to layouts, which is what I did. Depending on how many guiding principles we have, which is 6, you can add this layout here where you have a photo, then the text, or you can use one where you have 4 and then 2. But I would use this so that when I duplicate it, I have 6. So I'll go here and I'll type guiding principle 1. And then under that, I would type teacher knows the subject he or she teaches. I believe that that's guiding principle 1, but you see that I have that there. I'm also going to add a photo. So I'm going to go to upload from my drive, wherever it is, and just upload a photo there. So once, and this is just a placeholder photo. So once you see this photo here, I can do 2 things. I can hyperlink the photo by clicking on the photo itself, going to the insert link, and hyperlink it to a page, which I want is guiding principle 1. And then I will click apply. So whenever persons click on the page, it takes them to guiding principle 1. Or I can hyperlink the word guiding principle 1. Now, as you can see, it's not underlined. When I add my link to guiding principle 1, then you see that a line is applied. So anyone on the platform will know that this is what you can click on to go to guiding principle 1. All right, so just to reiterate, I will type my page name and I will upload a photo. And then I'm going to link my photo or create a button to the photo. So I have this here and I'm going to link it to guiding principle 2. So again, I click on the photo, click on link, and then go to guiding principle 2, right? And then I will apply. And I can either do that for the photo only, or I can also do that with the text. Click on it, highlight it, insert link, and go to guiding principle 2. That way, when I preview my website, I go down, I see my header, see my philosophy of education, I see the text. I go down to the table of contents, and then I can use this now to click, and it will take me to guiding principle 1. All right, so that is how we create that link there in order to have it hyperlinked to different pages. Now for a button as well, I can go to insert and I'll scroll down. So let me go back to the home page. I go to insert and I'll scroll down, and you see that I have the option of creating a button. So for the name of my button, I can say, click here for guiding principle 1. So it gives me that option to do so. But with these buttons now, I can go ahead and link it to guiding principle 1. Or if I have an external link that I want, I can copy it and paste that external link, and then it will be inserted. And you'd see that whenever I click on this on my previewed page, or when the page is published, I'll now be able to go wherever that button prompts me to, right? So that is how we use and create that button in using Google Sites. Now, Renee is asking, the table of content goes on the home page. It can be a separate page in itself, but what we want is for you to put it in a way where it flows. So if it is that I have my home page and I have the About Me page there and everything, if the next page is the table of contents, then it can still work. But usually on the home page, you have it there so that when persons read it, they can, from that centered page, go and is directed to the different pages that you have in the site. All right, so it really is up to you, but we're looking at it being functionable, right? All right, so that's how we create the button. So what we're going to do now is create an external button. And believe it or not, the logo feature on the Canva app is what would allow me to create this external button. So let's go ahead and go over to logo. So again, in my search bar, I'm going to type in logo, and I'll see the different options that I have here, different things that I can play around with, different things that I can use. Excuse me. So let's say, for example, this is actually a good one here. I see this logo feature. I go ahead and I would tailor it to my color, right? So I tailor it to my color. If my color is blue, like you'd have seen, I would have added that blue so it can still represent the colors that I have. What I can do here is type in guiding principle 1 and adjust it. And this is just working with what I have here. The line spacing there, just to carry it in the center. All right, so I have my guiding principle 1, and then it says teacher. Hold on, what is it again? Teacher knows the subject he or she teaches. Okay, wonderful. Where am I? So just paste it there. Teacher knows the subject. And of course, again, I'm going to adjust the size. So the creative aspect here, especially with Canva, really is up to your style, and it's however you choose it. But this is just a clear example of what we can use to create that button effect. So I have that there. Right? So up here, what I can say, I can give a prompt to say click 4. All right. So when I add this here, I go ahead and I would now download this button, which is logo in Canva, where this is where I found it. Download this button and go ahead and I would save it with a transparent background. Now, again, for the persons who don't have Canva Pro, I can save it as a PNG still and go ahead and use the different websites to re-upload, and from there take away the background. But Canva gives us that option to do everything right here. So now that I've downloaded my button, what I would do now on my site is just under my table of contents still, I can delete the elements here, which is the text at the bottom, and I can upload that button. Right? So you'd see that this is my button. I can enlarge it however I choose. And then from here, I can hyperlink guiding principle 1's page. So on the table of contents, when somebody sees this as a button in itself, they can go ahead and click on it. It's a different way to present your table of contents by having these different elements. So you see, click for guiding principle 1, the prompt is in it. I click on it. And now I'm here at guiding principle 1. All right. Just to confirm, the recordings will be available on the YouTube channel. Yes, they will be. I'm going to pause here now and just open it for any questions, because we would have gone through a lot so far. I can look at the logo first, then take all of the general questions, or we can pause here for some questions and then move on. So let me see any of the hands raised. All right, so I see Lorraine Carr, go ahead.
Good afternoon. I noticed you're saying he or she teaches. Why you use he or she if you're referring to you?
Because there are also males on the platform. So I am just using the general guiding principle that has he or she, which can be tailored personally to each individual teacher.
Oh, so when I'm doing mine, I put teacher
She.
knows the subject she teaches.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good.
All right. No problem. All right.
Sorry, Ms. Evans, a point to note, if you looked at Miss Harris's sample, you would have noticed Mrs. Harris Burrell, you would have noticed that she wrote her name there. Rochelle Harris knows how. So you can personalize it like that.
All right, thank you. I'm just going through some of the chat while we speak. All right. I'm seeing Ratasha Johnson. Go ahead with your question.
All right, Miss, I've been wanting to ask this question because I want to know if I'm going to be adding picture of my students or myself with my student on my site. I did hear something about permission. Do I need permission from the parents to do that?
Yes, especially depending on their age. If they are above or if they're in high school, I believe, Mrs. Wilmot, you can correct me if I'm wrong, then they can give their consent, but especially for
once they're minors, below 18.
Right, once they're minors, then you have to get consent from their parents. But what we can also do, and that's a good question that you brought up. Let's say, for example, I have a picture with my students there. This is a good picture, so I can use this. I have my students' photos here. What I can do in my Canva elements is actually type in blur. So when I type in blur, I'll see different options here coming up, like this one here, or this one, for example, that I can cover their faces with. Just to kind of take it out in just this way that it's not showing, but you can still understand, you know, the photo, but still trying your best to hide the faces of the persons that you don't have permission from. So you're not necessarily limited to, if you don't have their permission not using it, you can go ahead and be creative and just blur the faces. If you understand what I'm saying. Understood? Okay. Understood?
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Not a problem. All right. That's a great question because it brought up that. I'm seeing Almarie. You can go ahead with your question.
My situation is the whole technological aspect. When we create the site, to go into Canva, then do the design, and then download, and then upload it into the site. Is that the way we should go? Because I was making my little attempt, and I did, but I was doing it in Canva and then doing into my site with my Drive. So I was wondering if I was on the right track.
As in to upload it?
Yes.
Right. So you download it from Canva and then go to your professional portfolio and upload the element.
Okay.
If it is, for example, a PDF or a Word document or a video, you'd have to upload those documents to your Google Drive first, and then upload them from your Google Drive on Google site. So you'd see, for example, I want to insert something and I go to Drive. When I go to Drive, it will show me all of the different elements that I can upload, which is things like from forms or PDF or videos or anything that I choose, it would be there.
Oh, so it's better for me to put it in the Drive first and then.
Right. The only things that you can upload directly is our images.
Okay.
Right. Okay, excellent. A few more questions, and then I would just revisit the logo, and then Mrs. Wilmot will go ahead and take over.
Remember, you need to do the video. You haven't done the video in Canvas yet, did you?
No, I didn't go through the video because the video in itself would take some time. So I just wanted to get all the small things first, so that with whatever time left, we can focus on the video.
No, man, do your thing. It's over to you. It's your afternoon.
All right.
Someone was asking about publishing. Yes, you publish at the end. And remember, when you publish, to make it, and that's very important, very, very important, Ms. Evans, to show them how when they publish, to make it that anyone with access can view. Because we had that challenge. Mm-hmm.
So, Mrs. Wilmot, please remember the other engagement. So we're still working with some time here. If it is that I'd have another opportunity to So,
Oh yes, I forgot that you have the OAS. I forgot that you have a big show to go to.
right.
I would ask that you jump to the video then. Do you have enough
All
time for
right.
that?
Yes, let me go ahead and do so.
Yes.
Just run back to the video. All right, so again, my apologies, colleagues, but we are, as a mentorship association, participating in the OAS I-10 seminar. So we are being represented there, and yours truly will be representing along with our vice president. So what we're going to do now is go through creating a video. I did see someone ask a question. Okay, logo as well. So I'll spend a couple times on the logo because it's the element is there, so we'll work on that. I did see someone ask a question if it is that we have to create a video of ourselves or just add any appropriate video. No, it depends on what it is that you're presenting. If you're presenting something on your guiding principle that you can speak to, that you can offer your relation to, fine. If it's something that you can creatively present using in a video format with words, text, music, you can go ahead and do so. Similarly, you can use other websites like Animate, Animoto to create, and Photo to create these video elements. But you can do it however you want. You, as the publisher, as the editor of your site, would know what it is that you're trying to represent and how. Right, so what about the files in your Google Drive when posted to your site sometimes require access? Yes, so we're going to go through publishing and access. So I'm going to go back now and go through creating a video. Wait, okay, here's a video here. Now, you'd have seen that there are different elements in this template that I have. I have a video here that runs for 4 seconds. I have text, I have a place for my logo, and I have different elements. Now, based on my professional portfolio, you would have seen that my theme would be, if I am a PE teacher, for example, my theme would be, I'll give you my blue theme to fit my picture. So I go back and I change some of these elements to represent that color. So this would give me more of a brown color. And then I'd have the dark blue here to represent my theme, right? Let's say, for example, that I have a photo here. I have a video of myself that I can upload. So you can record your own video and upload it into Canva. And that way you would be able to edit over, under, and around it. So that is an option there. Or you go down to more and you click on videos. And then again, this is a premium option. You go ahead and choose a relating video. If it is that I want students, I can go ahead. If I want, for example, a picture of this lady walking or anything that I can find and I can relate to, then I will go ahead and add it. For example, if I'm a science teacher, then these videos are something that I can go ahead and play with. But then I would just drag and drop it to my template, right? So again, it's up to you to just fill in and just to add different elements that you choose. Now, what you see here is because of this video, my slide is now 13 seconds long. What I also want to look at is trimming it to about running for 4 seconds or 3.5 seconds. Go ahead and run it, and then I'd fill in the name. So for example, if this photo is called, if this slide or the title is guiding principle. And then, for example, or I have guiding principle 1, and then I have the term teacher knows, right? So I'd fill in the guiding principle there. Then I can preview and say, all right, this is for 3.5 seconds. I can remove this element there because it's not necessary. I would have fit and make sure that my colors align. And then I have the video. All right, so first is fine. I can also animate the text. So again, I can have the text blocking as it rises, because you see the element rising, everything is fine there. Now, I would go ahead and I'd do the same thing with all of this. I'd ensure that my colors align. For example, I'd fill in the text. If I need to change the text, have it represent what I have. This can be a photo or a video. So I can also, if I have a photo of my class here, sorry, let me go to upload. If I have a photo of my class here, then I'd put that in, and you'd see that it still blends with the theme because it's already fit and the elements are already there. I'd have that, and I'd just have my caption relating to the photo and put it everything like that. So it's pretty user-friendly, it's easy to use. Again, YouTube University has all of the elements that you can use. Show you step-by-step how to go ahead and do these things. I can fit in a video at the end, again with my logo, with my name, thank you for watching, however I choose, with still taking in mind how long each slide is and how long the timing is, right? So go ahead, 5 seconds for this page. This is a text page, so it would be a little bit longer and everything. Now, you'd also see here that I have music. So I can also add music as an overlay to these videos. Canva provides the music that I can listen to and I can choose from. So you'd see that I have audio here, and I can choose, again, which sound or rhythm or instrumental matches the serious tone that I'm looking for, right? So then with all of that, I can now press play, and then I'd see or get a run through of how the video looks, which you'd see here once it's done loading. So like I would have said, Canva, the beautiful thing about Canva is that everything is template based. So it provides you with the shell. All you do now is go on any different video element and go ahead and add, match, change the colors, add your videos, add your photos, and then all of the elements that you see would still be as presented, right? So that in a nutshell is how you create a video using Canva. And then of course, when you're finished, you go to download and download as MP4 video. Once downloaded as an MP4 video, it will be downloaded to the folder on your device. Now, you can also download this as a GIF, right? You can also download it as a GIF. What it would do is that with the GIF, you cannot pause it, you cannot play it. It's there. It will run as in a continuous loop, and it would not have any sound. So if you want to have it as a GIF, then you can also do that. But this, in a nutshell, again, is how you create that video using Canva. All right, so I'm looking now and I'm seeing again how to do a logo. So let's just go back and we're going to go on logo. And what we're seeing here is just some elements that we can tailor to ourselves. We can use them as is with our own names, with our own initials, with our own elements or photos that we can resonate with, something that can represent us. So we can see it and we can go in, edit it, and have it there. So let us choose a logo. All right, so this one here is nice. So my name is Jordan Evans, and if I am a professional and I'm trying to create my own logo, something that I can use to brand myself here on my website and on social media, then I can go ahead and do so. You see that I have elements here of some letters, things that I can work with. So I'm going to change the C to a J, and I'm going to change the R to an E. So I have my initials there. I'm going to go ahead, I see Creative Studio. So what I can type here is my full name, Jordan Evans, and you see that it would still fit in line. So it would still fall in line there. And then at the bottom, I can add my title. and my title is Special Educator, right? So just like that, all I did was just edit the elements that they would have provided in the template and made it fit and tailor my needs. What I can also do is I can change the color. So it doesn't have to be black. I can keep my color scheme if I want to. So you'd see that I have it there. I can add effects to the background, like a shadow to my name, and have the shadow with the color, or I can have it lifted so you can actually see my name presented in a different way. I can splice the thickness. I can do however I want, but still add my personal feel to it. And then that is my logo, right? So this is the logo that I choose. This is the logo that I want. What I can do now is go ahead and download as a PNG the first page of my logo. I can also download it with a transparent background because of the Canva Pro that I am using, right? Someone says, how do I remove background without using the Pro? Okay, I'll show you that as well. I use remove.bg. That's the website that I use to remove backgrounds. So I'm going to download my PNG of my logo here. I am going to open remove.bg. And then I'm going to upload it. So I upload my image, which is what I don't have the transparent background for. And then you see that I have my logo there. My background is removed. Now you can also realize that the white in the circle is also removed. What I can do is go to edit, and I can restore the inside of the circle. So you'd still see that white element there. You'd have to be careful. Have to be careful with a steady hand. Especially the options. Okay, I have that there. Go as close as you can, and then have the inside. So now I have a logo itself with no background, but I still have, and I've restored the color inside. That still allows it to be this functioning logo. So then I download that. Now I can go to my professional website, click on edit logo at the top left-hand corner of my site. I'm going to go ahead, edit the logo. And because I already have one there, I'm going to delete that and upload my new logo. And there you see it. My logo is now added to my site. And you'd see that Google site asks me if I want the logo color to coincide with all of the different aspects on the theme. And I'm going to say yes, because I want my color to be represented throughout, have this unified, clear, crystal look. And then that's my logo. So I have my logo there. My theme now has my color. My color is represented in the different elements, in the text, in the buttons that I would have added. The color is in my photo. So you'd see that your theme is now truly representing your brand and your niche. All right. So again, I'm going to open up to any questions. I really appreciate you all still staying with us. But let me just run through the tasks a little, just for a while, just to kind of end off on that note. So here so let's go again. Step 1, creating the home page, would have done that. Step 2 is to add all the 6 pages with the guiding principle and the title. So would have gone through that as well. Add at least 2 appropriate items for your guiding principle, for each of your guiding principle. You want to add the button link. You want to include your action plan in either GP1 or 3, which again, if it is in PNG or Word, you'd have to upload it to your Google Drive, then insert it from there, and then add at least an appropriate video, add a lesson plan, and then you're going to submit that site using the form below. All right, yes, how to publish. So I'm seeing some hands. Go ahead, Lee, and unmute.
Some persons are asking how you publish, Miss Evans. So
Yes,
just to go
I
to it
saw
and
that.
show them that option of how they publish.
No problem. All right, go ahead, Lee.
Yes, thank you so much. Good afternoon. Great presentation. Really excited. I've been using Canva for like about maybe 2-3 years now. It's really a good site to use them to even do my lesson plans as well, create certificates, so on and so forth. So I just wanted to commend you for the presentation and letting you know that for those persons who have been asking about paid and free, don't worry, your free version can give you almost endless templates to use that are quite exciting. Thanks.
Right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Truly reassuring. All right. So I'm just going to take one more hand. I see Cheryl, Mrs. Ba. Go ahead, unmute, and then we look at going to publishing this. Mrs. Ba. All right. Not hearing from Mrs. Ba there. I'm seeing Dee Daniels. You can go ahead.
How do we get the free Canva from using our government email?
No, when you use your government email, it will take you to the Canva education that allows us to have access to their pro features. If you use any other
within
pardon?
there, you will see the Canva.
Right. So just type in Canva education. What you can do is go to Google, type in Canva education, and then they'd send you a link specifically to the Canva education website. Then you're going to insert or sign up using your Google email or your ministry email rather, and then you have access to the pro feature.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, not a problem. Okay, Donna Goldson. All right, not hearing from Donna Goldson. All right, so we can go ahead and look at publishing.
Good evening. Sorry about that. Donna here. Okay, I was asking the question. Say, for instance, you have a Google website or page, right? And its drive is kind of full, and you're downloading from, say, Microsoft Word. How can you get the document uploaded to your site? I'm having problem with that.
Okay, go ahead and ask again.
Okay, as I'm saying, my Google Drive is almost full, right? And the document is on Microsoft Word, right? Or probably in the government Google Drive. How can I get the download from those pages to go onto the site that I'm working on my private Gmail?
All right, so you can do one of two things because the Google site actually allows us to upload from Google Drive. So if it is that you have that those documents on a different Google Drive than the one that you are creating the site with, you can add that email as a collaborator or share that email, that document. So you're basically going to make both emails a collaborator in that drive so that you'd have that access in that Google Drive that you're using your site with, and you can upload it from there.
But the ministry email is not linking to my private Gmail.
Right, so that also works with the sharing option. So let me go ahead and show you an example. So let me just share the screen here. All right, I will have to leave you in 4 minutes. So let me go ahead and share that screen because I want to show again how to publish. So again, I'd have to insert. Now, from your Google Drive with your ministry email, every time you share something, you'd have to, for example, ensure that the sharing option is, let me open my drive. The sharing option allows for anyone outside of the institution, outside of any ministry-based institution to view that file, right? So once you do that and you give that authorization, then you'll be able to share that. All right. So let me open my ministry email and look for an example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be cautious of what I'm showing because this is my school email. So my students' grades and information will be shown. So I'm just going to pull up something that I can share an example with. All right. So here you would have seen that I have this Google Doc here in my ministry email. So this is my MOE email. So what I do is when I click on share, you'd scroll down and you'd actually see that it's restricted. It's restricted to only people that are shared with the Ministry of Education can view it, right? When I click on that, then it gives me the option to not restricted to them, but supposed to be able to change it to other ways. Where's this file? It's not supposed to be restricted, and I want it outside of my ministry email.
Which email are you using? Which email did you use to publish the site, Miss Evans?
No, it's not the site. She's asking about the document.
Right, but I'm asking you, the one that you're doing now, which email are you using to do it?
Oh, this is my ministry email.
That is why it's restricting you.
No, man, this is the document. I'm not publishing the site yet, and I hadn't published the site.
We're not publishing. We want to take it from the
Right,
ministry
she wants
site
to show me the
private
ministry
site.
Right, but either way, take it, because if this is the case, because I usually have shared from my ministry email with my personal email. But if this is the case, then what you can do is just open it in a new window wherever you've had it from and download it from there. Or from your Google Drive, you'll have the option to download it to your device. Oh, somebody said that feature changed.
Right, because I tried that one, it's not going through.
Oh, they changed that. Okay, well then you just have to download it and then re-upload it in your other Google Drive. Because so like they're saying, I was able to do that at one point. So thank you for that. We can learn from each other because I didn't know that it changed. But yes, you can open it in a new window, download it from that drive, and then upload it in your personal Gmail.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so my Google Chrome is not working. All right, so here we go. Now, like Mrs. Wilmot said, because I would have created this in my ministry Gmail, which I am advising you 100% not to do. What you're going to do now is still publish it, right? So in your personal Gmail, what you're going to do is you're going to go to publish. Once you've published it, the first thing that it will prompt you to do is to give your, add your personal touch to your web address, right? So you can have, like it would have done for me, professional portfolio JAE. You can have D Daniels, so on, so the name of your school. You can have your initials, professional portfolio, however you choose, and you can go ahead and do so. Now, this is what you see if you're doing this with your ministry email, which again, we advise you not to do because it will limit you to only the persons on that platform. Should we, or personal assignment to do the assignment? Yes, your personal email. But this is what you see. So only the persons who are signed into their ministry email would have access to my file, right? Which is what we don't want. We can't limit your site view to whomever has that the ministry email. So in your personal email on the who can view my site, you will now have that option to go ahead and make it anyone with link can view, or you can restrict it to only persons that you choose to share it with. You can add their email address and so forth, but because this is my ministry site, this is what I'd see. But once you've set or figured that out, then you click on publish. And then you see that my site has been published and it will click on view. Now, something I am also imploring you, because there are many sites that I have been added to, where persons are submitting their link, they send me the edit link. If you see edit at the end of your link, do not send it. What this does, when you just copy the link from here and submit it, whoever is accessing that link would now have edit privileges to your site. They'd have editor privileges to your site. That's not what we want. Once you've published your site, and you've gone on view published site, you can go ahead and now copy the website link and submit it. All right, so there's a difference between both links. We don't want this link because once it has edit at the end, you're giving the person you're sharing that link with privilege to edit and share. You want to actually open the published link and then you copy that link and you submit it. All right, so that is what we're looking for. And then from the published link, you can go ahead. Now, another thing is whenever I make, if I make an, let's say I make something, I make a change to my site. So now that I have this change, I'm going to have to republish it because what's published right now is the table of contents without it being underlined. So you want it to upload and reflect any changes that you've made. So what you do is you click publish again, and then what Google Sites allows you to do is to review the change. So ensure that the change that you've made is what you actually want to publish, and you get to see a draft between what you've done a while ago versus what is actually being accessed right now. So then I can see the change, I've reviewed the change, so I'm going to say go ahead and I'm just going to republish. That's also something that we want to ensure is done because oftentimes if we are looking at your site and there, for example, is nothing there, if you would have published your site before finishing, we would still see the same unfinished site. So you want to ensure that every change that you make, you go ahead and you republish.
And just to say, Ms. Evans, that they can also unpublish their site at any time.
Right.
Someone is asking about the picture being blurry, and is it what? Are you downloading it in PDF, PNG?
So please, when I add my picture from Canva to Google site, the picture becomes blurry. Okay, so what happens is with the PNG, it depends on the resolution of the photo itself. So for example, if it is that you have a small photo, so each photo has a size, if you have a small photo size, and then you see that you would have added it to the Canva and it would have stretched in any type of way, the picture itself is going to become distorted. That's one thing. So when you download it, you have to ensure that the picture size and the quality of the photo can match whatever it is that you're trying to do on Canva, because it will reflect when downloaded. You'd see it's become distorted. Another thing is probably your internet. The internet will also affect how it looks on the site. So if it is that you have great internet, great service and everything like that, you can go ahead and refresh the page and see if that changes anything. If not, we want to go back and look at the file size. Look at the resolution, whether it's HD quality or not, and then see how best you can adjust from there. All right. Any other questions? Mrs. Wilmot, I think this question is for you. It's not pale. It looked normal. All right. So with that, maybe you're looking at the readability. So adjust for readability. You see that when I click on that, I'd also have that pale look, but you can go ahead and click it off and the regular color would be there. Right.